9:30. I appreciate everybody being here this morning. We'll get started with our pre-meeting work session for our 10 o'clock council meeting. We'll start with the proclamation from the mayor for Decatur High's indoor drum line and an award that they won. Approval of monthly bills. Approved March 2025 monthly bills. No changes. Any questions? Approval of minutes. There were no changes. Any questions? Public hearings. Resolution 25061. Approved request for Class 1 lounge license liquor, beer, and wine on premise for the Little Cigar Shop at 110 2nd Avenue Northeast, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
No changes.
Any questions? Resolution 25062, approved request for special event retail liquor license by Greater Morgan County Builders Association Incorporated for Linda and Delinda Peak Willis Pack Kentucky Derby Drawdown May 3rd, 2025 at Ingalls Harbor Pavilion.
No changes.
Any questions? Resolutions. Resolution 25063, assessed demolition cost the amount of $8,330 against 718 Cashin Street Northwest for abatement of unsafe conditions.
No change.
Any questions? Resolution 25064, assessed demolition cost in the amount of $5,340 at 25 Old Trinity Road Northwest for abatement of unsafe conditions.
No change.
Any questions? Resolution 25065, authorize execution of Morgan County EMA Browns Ferry Emergency Planning and Response Agreement.
Yeah, there's no change to that.
All right. Any questions?
That's something, we just do that
Yeah.
by federal guidelines.
Resolution 25066, approve annexation moratorium for 2025 municipal election. Any questions? Resolution 25067, approved MOU for continuing SRO program with Decatur City Schools.
We're going to ask that be tabled. We need to make sure that DCS and us have a firm understanding. We've got time to do
Do we
that.
need to vote to table it or just remove it?
You can remove it.
Okay, we'll go
If that's
ahead.
okay with the council.
We'll remove item E for today.
All right.
Resolution 25068, approved designation for voting delegate and alternates for ALM business section, May 15th, 2025.
Currently, the mayor Dalton is on the list, and I asked that we add Councilman Hodges as well as well.
Okay. No issue with that. So he would be a first alternate.
First,
Okay. All right. Any questions? Resolution 25069, apply for transitioning to digital design review grant.
No change.
Any questions? Resolution 25070, apply for a grant for the historic survey of the Walter Jackson Elementary School neighborhood.
No change.
Any questions? Resolution 25071, approve replacement of Point Mallard Aquatic Center chlorine tank, and this was an addition. Steph?
Good morning. This is just what it says, is to replace our chlorine tank. Our chlorine tank actually feeds the 3 large pools, so Wave Pool, Olympic Pool, and Lazy River. We did look at some different options as far as pricing for this. Brentag is our chlorine supplier, but we found a less costly alternative, so we're recommending to go with a less costly alternative for that.
Okay, any questions? Ordinance's first reading, ordinance 25460A, approve annual ad valorem tax levy for FY26.
That's, as we shared before, this is just an annual levy. There is no increase of the ad valorem tax. That's been true for decades. State law requires us to confirm what our ad valorem levy is, and we do that in May. So that's why we introduce it in April, and in May, the first meeting in May, we will adopt and confirm that that's our ad valorem tax rate, but no increase in tax rate.
Okay, any questions? Ordinance 25460 declare surplus and return property donated to the city via resolution 23079 to Grace Life Church.
No change unless the council has questions.
Any questions? Ordinance 254606, approve annexation request 37925 for property on Pisgah Road.
No change.
Any questions? Ordinance 254607, approve Alabama Fiber Network franchise agreement.
Yeah, that's the statewide expansion of broadband sponsored by the state of Alabama. And that's their preferred provider or contractor.
All right, any questions on that one? All right, we'll get started at 10.
Great time of the year, great time to remember how we got here and what he did for us. Sure.
Call the meeting to order. Alan Stover will lead us in the invocation and pledge.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, as we come to you today, God, we thank you for your many blessings. God, as we celebrate the two most important events that happen in human history and with your death and resurrection, God, we thank you so much for that. God, I just pray that you would be with this council. God, I pray that you'd be with this city, God. God, that we would do those things, God, that you would be pleased with. God, I just pray that you'd just let us be what we need to be for you, God, that you might shine through us. God, I thank you so much again for this city and this state and this country, God, that we're able to be freely just to worship you and in spirit. And God, we just love you. God, I thank you for all that you do for us. In Jesus Christ's holy name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Here. Here. All right, first item on the agenda is a proclamation from the mayor.
And so with that, we have with us Mr. Zach Nelson, who is one of the music teachers at Decatur High School. And we have the Decatur High School indoor drum line with us today, and have something that I want to read in a proclamation that shares information about your accomplishment that we're very proud of. And it's a proclamation from the city of Decatur, Alabama, whereas the 2024-25 Decatur High School indoor drum line competed at the SCGC Championship held on March 30th, 2025 in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And whereas the DHS indoor drum line won the bronze medal in the percussion scholastic A division. Congratulations. And whereas the DHS indoor drum line has proven its excellence throughout the season and has represented the city of Decatur in an outstanding manner. And whereas it is fitting and appropriate that we recognize their hard work, dedication, and high level of musical talent exhibited by all of the members of the Decatur High School indoor drum line. Now, therefore, I, Tab Bowen, Mayor of the City of Decatur, Alabama, along with our City Council, do hereby deem it an honor and privilege to extend our congratulations on behalf of myself and the Council on your exceptional performance. Thank you. Thank you, yes, sir. And congratulations to y'all. Thank you.
Mayor, we're going to recess for about 3 minutes. We'll start back at 10:07 if they need to take any pictures.
Zach, I just want to say that you guys are a great reflection on the city of Decatur. Thank you for everything that you do. You guys have really made us proud, and we just want to be a part of being able to recognize what you guys have done for the city. Thank you all.
We'll go into recess 10:07 and start back.
Next week I'm gonna buy bags.
Little minutes.
All right, we will come back into order. Next item on the agenda is agenda-related public comments, and we'll just go in order. We have several sign in. Mr. Faruqi was first.
Okay, so how does it make sense to approve an MOU for SROs to Decatur City Schools when DPD is severely undermanned and apparently undertrained based on recent fiascos with Mr. Scott?
We removed that from the agenda, but we'll support SROs in our schools.
Okay, even if no gap analysis has been done yet by the police chief to see whether or not the officers can support it or not? And even though $1.5 million this month was given to DCS, and none of that money is used to fund the police department.
Yeah, I won't use our kids as a bargaining chip on that.
That's a very good briefing, but you don't have any idea whether or not this is a good use of time or energy or not.
No, I do.
Okay, and it's not.
So
What you said,
SROs
you said SROs are not a good use of taxpayer dollars?
I would say that in a department that has executed severe lack of judgment and misconduct, and nothing has been done against it when you all have had the opportunity to do something about it, that, yeah, priority of effort might be to get good officers in so we don't have incidents like this happened on Tuesday.
Overarching.
Our SROs are excellent. They do a great job.
I didn't say they weren't.
We're going to keep them there.
Okay, let's go into number 2. How does it make sense to approve an MOU between the city and Morgan County EMA for a senior elected official to be identified? Who is that going to be? Oh, so we don't know who that might be. Does anybody have the training to do that?
Yes, sir, we have incident commanders.
Are you an incident commander?
No, sir.
Which elected official here has been through incident commander training?
I haven't been to an incident, well,
So none of you have.
I have.
So if you're a senior elected official, okay, go ahead.
I have been to training.
For what? Have you been to training for what?
For how the incident command works.
Okay, I understand how it works. I have not been trained in incident command.
I think you understand everything.
Have you practiced that in the last 4 or 9 years since you've been a mayor? Have you been an incident commander?
No, sir, I'm not an incident commander. It depends on.
So what elected official will take up that role based on this MOU?
I would support the incident commander. The incident commander will either be the chief of police.
No.
or the-
Okay, which elected official, according to the MOU, will become the elected official?
You know, the way that this has worked in the past.
There's a lot of things that have worked in the past and have not worked in the
I'm trying to
past.
answer your questions.
Go ahead. Excuse me?
I'm trying to answer your question.
Go ahead.
So usually the council convenes and they as a body make decisions to support the incident as it relates to financial matters, things of that nature.
So if Browns Ferry explodes tomorrow, the city council is going to elect at that point, given time, to establish someone to represent the city. Is that correct?
No, sir.
So who is that elected official going to be?
I told you that the council forms as a body.
Okay, so you don't have a clue. I got that.
No, sir, you're not listening.
I listen quite well. And then also requires a public information officer. Now, I've gone over this twice. Last year, we had the same issue. Who is that PIO going to be?
Irene in the police department will be that person right now.
Okay, do you believe she's competent to do that job?
Well, hopefully.
Okay, you're hemming and hawing. I would say no, probably, based on that.
I'm hoping we don't.
What happened on Tuesday, Mayor?
What happens on Tuesday?
What happened on Tuesday with your police department and a viral video that went out with Mr. Scott who was beaten on the floor?
I'm not getting into that video.
Okay, thank you. How does it make sense to send Tab, this gentleman, to represent the city at the the Alabama League of Municipalities? Now we have perhaps an alternative. I would recommend him not go, and you do go. He doesn't have the demonstrated knowledge, skills, and ability to represent this city. And God help us if you do vote on something in terms of governance, we may be paying for that for another 4 years. So please do not do that.
Mr. Faruqi, Sarah French.
I am speaking on agenda number F as well. I'm asking you to vote no in sending our mayor. Please do not send this man to represent our city at this event. He is a mayor that rather have our city divided than heal and be brought together. He literally showed us all of that last Wednesday. He is a mayor who has walked out on us time and time again over the past 20 months. He chooses to do that. He wouldn't even attend our State of the City, so why would we send him to an event elsewhere? He doesn't even stay for full council meetings. He literally has retaliated against us who support justice for Steve. Even the people that did support him now agree he just needs to step aside because while he is our mayor, we will not heal. He is unprofessional and embarrassing. Actually, our city is in such a horrific state at the moment, I don't think Decatur should even be participating in this. We can't talk on how to follow policies and lead a city when we don't have people that do that here correctly anyway.
Thank you, Sharonda.
All right, and I'm speaking in regards to F as well, because I feel as a council, I wouldn't want Tab to put his name on anything that is not mandatory. He has left you all to do his job for the past year and a half. He has announced that he will not be rerunning, and we wouldn't pick you for a cherry picking contest. You lack professionalism, you lack coup. At the interview on Wednesday, you were childish and adolescent in your behaviors. So again, I know I heard that you were gonna put your name down. I ask that you remove his name from anything that is not mandatory.
Thank you. Lisa?
I'm speaking in regards to F as well. Just to get clarity, from research, voting delegates from member cities and towns vote on official league business. For example, electing officers, approving policy statements or legislative goals, making decisions that guide the league's direction and priorities for the coming year. Okay.
I did it once, and we didn't vote on anything.
Okay. Voting delegate Tab Bowling, absolutely not. Tab lacks professionalism and he's negligent. He has a proven track record of making bad decisions. For example, last Wednesday, April 16th, Captain Tory Max was interviewed for Decatur's next police chief. Throughout his interview, everyone present to ask him questions for 2 hours were focused on Captain Mack and getting to know him. Everyone on that panel asked excellent questions and took their time with the process. But you know who didn't? Tab Bowling. He played on his phone the majority of the time, slouched in his seat, and asked irrelevant questions that had not a bit of substance or relevance. And lastly, at the end of the interview process, when it was his turn to ask follow-up questions to Captain Mack, he didn't ask Captain Mack anything about his qualifications, experience, etc. Tab asked Captain Mack if he met or talked to any of the councilmen. Then he asked him if he had met or talked with any organization specifically stating standing in power. You shouldn't be voted to partake in anything that reflects Decatur. I know you thought you were TMZ, about to drop a bombshell secret that only you knew about. However, you look like a giddy rat, excited to have pieces of cheese when you didn't even have a whole slice. You totally disrespected Captain Mack by trying to railroad his interview, but you showed again how you are not a leader. It wasn't a secret he met with us. It's not your business, because didn't you quit last year? We have every right to meet with anyone who might be over our public safety. Again, you shouldn't be voted to partake in anything that reflects Decatur. Then you had the audacity to speak to the news at the State of the City this year to talk about unity. For the past 18 months, you've been the source of division. You are the problem. You've always been the problem. You've dragged the city through chaos, conflict, and disgrace on purpose, just to retaliate against us. But let me tell you a little secret. This isn't about us and you. This is about you versus the truth, you versus accountability, you versus integrity. Your fight has always been with yourself. Your insecurities, your incompetence, you're in a fight with your own soul, and even God can't save you from it, or yourself. Your brain cells are dying and you have an eroding liver. I want you to know any room you walk in, people think you are a walking joke. Again, voted to partake in anything that reflects Decatur? Absolutely not. I will never let you or anyone tied to your legacy forget how you failed this city and became a crash dummy. You crashed out, you quit, defeated, forfeit, gave up, walked out, cowered it out. You were never a leader, just a water boy, a degenerate, a parasite feeding off the work of better people, a puppet with no strings. You were a clown in a suit. You fumbled the moment and sold out the community and anyone who believed in you. You failed. History will remember you not as a visionary, but as a footnote of failure, a drunk spectator in your own collapse. If you ever mention standing in power again, in a public setting regarding future city employees, you will have a cease and desist letter before you can close your eyes at night and go to sleep. Thank you.
Morning. I want to speak on Agenda F as well. I would just like to say this to you. I believe, I know that you lack integrity. I don't believe that he should be able to represent our city in any way. So I would hope that you all would not vote to send him anywhere outside of this chamber. Thank you.
All right, we'll move into the agenda. All right, approved March 2025 monthly bills. Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Aye. Monthly, March 2025 monthly bills are approved 4-0. Minutes, we'll take all these together. Motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Minutes are approved 4-0. Next, public hearings, resolution 25061, request for Class 1 lounge license liquor, beer, and wine on premise for the Little Cigar Shop at 110 2nd Avenue Northeast, Decatur, Alabama 35601.
Yeah, this was a change in square footage according to our zoning ordinance, so he is asking now to be able to have liquor, beer, and wine on premise.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now. Does anyone here to speak on this item? All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed. Motion by Mr. Pike, second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution 25061 is approved 4-0. Resolution 25062, approved request for special event retail liquor license by Greater Morgan County Builders Association Incorporated for Linda and Delinda Peak Willis at Kentucky Derby Drawdown on May 3rd, 2025 at Ingalls Harbor Pavilion, 802 Wilson Street, Northwest Decatur, Alabama 35601.
This will be outside on the grassy area in front of Ingalls.
All right, this is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now. Is anyone here to speak on this item? Mr. Farouk, you would like to speak?
Just in a simple effort to get clarity, I think there was something that came on the agenda a couple of weeks ago.
That was for inside, and they've decided to move it outside, and it's more affordable, and I think they just wanted to have the event outside on the grass area patio as opposed to inside.
Okay, so the sole bidder or option that won the last bid.
This is not about that. This is this group.
No, but somebody won a contract, I believe, to have that.
That's not what this is about. This is about this group being there and able to have a license. So who's providing it was already decided. This is a separate group that's having an event.
Okay, event inside or outside? Because it was unclear. Okay.
The first one we approved is inside. They've decided to move it outside. That's why it's back on the, it wouldn't be back on the agenda if they were still doing it inside.
Okay. So a previous won the contract apparently for Ingalls Harbor. That is who? Who won that?
I can't remember the name of the company, but whoever. Responsible partners.
Okay, and that's Decatur, or excuse me, Morgan County, somebody in Morgan County's either commission or,
Their business,
right, that's they're doing business as, but they're a member of that body.
possibly.
Well, you should maybe look into it because I made the mention of that last time that they are. They're on the board. All right.
Board for the county commission?
I believe it's either the county commission or whoever the guy who owns that business.
Yeah, this is agenda item.
I know. I'm trying to get clarity
Yeah.
if I could.
Well, we should have gotten clarity for you when we voted on that item. This is for this.
You didn't.
But we can't. We know who that was.
You don't know who
Yes, we do.
who was the bidder in the previous.
Anything else on this specific item?
Okay, so they're not doing inside. The one that they won last time was just solely for the inside of Ingalls Harbor. Is that
This group has moved their event outside.
somebody who previously had ownership of that facility or received, excuse me, not ownership, who had won the liquor license for Ingalls Harbor?
No, this is simply an event that's happening at Ingalls Harbor. Applied for the license for an inside event. They've now moved it outside. That's all there is to it. Has nothing to do with the contract on the liquor.
Are you familiar with the, so it's providing the liquor. That's what that was. That's the clarity I was looking for, but it took us this long to get there. Thank you.
All right, so seeing no one else speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed. We have a motion by Mr. McMaster, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution 25062 is approved 4-0. Resolutions, Resolution 25063, assess demolition cost in the amount of $8,330 against 718 Cashin Street Northwest for abatement of unsafe conditions.
Yeah, Josh Sloan, Community Development. We've tore this building down. This is to assess the cost.
There's a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike. Second. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution 25063 is approved 4-0. Resolution 25064, assess demolition cost in the amount of $5,340 at 25 Old Trinity Road Northwest for abatement of unsafe conditions.
Yes, this building's been tore down as well, and we just request to assess the cost.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike. Second. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution 25064 is approved 4-0. Resolution 25065, authorize execution of Morgan County EMA Browns Ferry Emergency Planning and Response Agreement. Harmon.
That is an agreement that we have under federal guidelines. This just puts that in place, that particular agreement. It's been in place for some years.
Motion by Mr. McMaster. Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution 25065 approved 4-0. Resolution 25066 approved annexation moratorium for 2025 municipal election.
Good evening, good morning. Tommy Williams with the Planning Department. And the City of Decatur is recommending a moratorium on annexations to allow for the establishment of zoning districts and polling locations for all property annexed since 2020. And we are recommending that the annexation be from today until September 30th.
Motion by Mr. McMasters.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Resolution 25066 approved 4-0. We removed item E. Moving to F, Resolution 25068 approved designation for voting delegate and alternates for ALM business session May 15th, 2025. So moved. Motion by Mr. McMasters.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution 25068 approved 4-0. Resolution 25069 apply the transitioning to digital design review grant.
Yes, this is just an application to allow us to go to digital review, to have applications digitally submitted to us for Architectural Review Board review. So this grant, if awarded, we wouldn't get an award until after September, so we would put that in the grant match budget in September. So it would not have any effect on this current budget, and we would budget it in next year's budget.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike. Second. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Resolution 25069 approved 4-0. Resolution 25070, apply for a grant for the historic survey of the Walter Jackson Elementary School neighborhood.
Same thing on this grant. If awarded, it would be after September, so we would just add this to our grant match budget. But this would allow us to do historic surveys around Walter Jackson to see if there's new districts that may be potential.
Motion by Mr. Pike. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 25070 approved 4-0.
Thank you.
Resolution 25071 approved replacement of Point Mallard Aquatic Center chlorine tank. Steph.
Good morning, council, mayor. Stephanie McLean, Point Mallard Park. This is basically just for us to replace our chlorine tank at the Point Mallard Park.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McMasters, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye. Resolution 25071 is approved 4-0. Next we have ordinances first reading. Ordinance 254608, approve annual ad valorem tax levy for FY26.
Yes, this introduces it by state law. It's adopted in May. 12.6 of this ad valorem tax goes to the school system. 6 mills goes to the city of Decatur. That's the way it's been for decades.
All right, any questions? All right, ordinance 254609, declare surplus and return property donated to the city via resolution 23079 to Grace Life Church.
Yes, this is the property that Grace Life donated to the city for the Everyday Sunshine Park. Since that time, the church has decided that didn't feel like that was the best location to put the park, so they've requested that property back. We're working with Mr. Sharp to see if we can find another location, so we're actively doing that. What we've expended to this point has basically been for design for the park, so we will work with him, and if he finds property, we would donate that. We would allow, not donate it, but we would allow him to use the design that we've done for the park, if or we would partner with him to make this project complete.
All right, any questions?
Alan, there's no need for immediate consideration on this one. Is the church looking to do anything?
No, no, sir. No, I would think probably we would probably need to wait.
Okay.
All right, ordinance 254606, approve annexation request 37925 for property on Pisco Road.
Yeah, this is 6.11 acres. They're requesting the zoning of B2 general business, and this one before the planning commission, March 18th.
Herman, should we open a public hearing on these two?
Yes, it's.
This is a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing now if there's anyone here to speak on this item. All right, seeing no one here to speak, so the public hearing is closed. So motion by Mr. McMasters, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye. Ordinance 254606 approved 4-0. Ordinance 254607 Alabama Fiber Network franchise agreement.
Yes, that's what we've shared several times. The representatives here from Alabama Fiber Network, but this is part of a statewide expansion of broadband, and they have done this across the state, this Alabama Fiber Network. Is there anything else I need to add?
No, sir.
Okay, I just want to make, all right.
All right, this is a public hearing as well. We'll open the public hearing now if there's anyone here to speak on this item. All right, seeing no one here to speak, we'll consider the public hearing closed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pike. Second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
McMaster.
Aye. Ordinance 254607 is approved 4-0. A special called work session. Sorry, we already did that. Next council work session will be held on April 28, 2025 at 5 p.m. Next regular council meeting will be held on May 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Thank you, directors.
First Rochelle Sandlin, Human Resources. Just a quick update. You asked that the planning director remain open to the end of the month. We did get 2 additional qualified applicants. I'll be sending those profiles to you later today and recommending an interview for those. You had an interview on Monday last week with a police chief candidate. Just needed to find out where the council was on that, if there's continued interest or if we need to move forward with the next process. That position will remain posted until it is filled. We did not get any additional qualified applicants since that last Monday when we decided to do that.
I would say, Rochelle, with that, it has been open now for, I guess, over 3 weeks. I'm comfortable and confident in moving forward with the process,
Okay.
The HR process with Tory Mack.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay.
I'm good. Carlton, thoughts?
Yeah, moving forward with the process.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Rochelle, before you leave, we've opened up the youth services. I'm just kind of curious as to how did we open that up? The
Didn't get any.
director's position.
How do you mean?
We opened it up to fill the director's slot. And I don't recall any time when the council said that we need to move forward.
It's normal course of business. The council didn't really discuss it at all, but that's normally what we do.
Yeah, but I think we typically set up the parameters as far as the length of the opening and things of that nature. And I think that we were, in my opinion, we were waiting for Mr. Jones to sort of get his feet in here and kind of see what we need to look at first. But now we've opened it up, and I'm just curious as to how we got to that point.
Well, that's per policy. We open director-level positions. The only deviation has been with the police chief, where this council wanted to shorten the recruiting period. Mr. Bruce Jones is only doing this for a short. He's very clear. He wants to do this on a temporary basis. The posting is up for 30 days. He's assessing. He can still continue to be a part of that process and help as we move forward with the candidate pool. If the council wants us to take it down, freeze it, we're happy to do that.
I'm really just trying to get an understanding of how we did it, because we had originally, Mr. Jones had originally said, he came back, he originally said that he would do it for 1.5 years to 2 years, and then he dialed that back a little bit.
Right, 6 months to a
6 months to a year. But my concern is that we were moving with Mr. Jones serving as the interim, and now, before he's actually, done whatever, any sort of assessments that he needs to do as far as what we need in the future, now we've opened it up, and I'm just, again, I'm kind of baffled as to how we move forward without some sort of discussion.
We did the same thing with the Park and Rec director. You didn't have to come before the council to seek permission to move
It's a little
forward.
bit different situation, though.
Not at all.
Oh, it's a totally different situation. It absolutely is, and you know it.
So Mr. Jones is working on a part-time basis, even as the interim. Didn't see any reason not to move forward with attempting to recruit. So whoever is selected for that position, we would hope that Mr. Jones would be available to participate, 1, and 2, help with the transition of a new applicant or a new candidate, provided there's one qualified. As I said,
That's his desire.
if this council does not desire that, we can certainly pull it down, freeze it.
I guess my desire was that we get a full grasp on what was going on in the department to make sure that we were moving in the right direction. And then, because we could bring somebody in, and if the department is not functioning at its best capacity, or I won't say full capacity, but it's at its best capacity, when we bring someone in, then they're trying to start from a negative position where Mr. Jones had the opportunity to kind of work those things out, work the wrinkles out. So again, I was curious because I had asked Jacob and I had asked how we got to this point, and no one seemed to know how we got to this point.
We had a vacancy and we posted it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? All right, we'll move into our public comments. We'll continue to do 3 minutes with 1 minute to wrap up after you close. All right. 3 minutes with 1 minute to wrap up. No profanity, and just try to be respectful. First on the list, I'll go in order, is Byron Eccles.
I continue to repeat that I am here for the safety of citizens, not only just of Decatur, but also of the United States. I began to warn about trouble coming in 2012. You can look on my Facebook page all the way back then. I started talking about problems. We are getting closer and closer as we go. I just wanted to mention this. Last week, there were some comments in some sections of social media and also here in the chamber, maybe some snickers and things like that. But in Acts chapter 2, verse 17 through 18, it says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, God, saith God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy." I stated one time in here before, I know I cannot stop a revolution. But I do know that some people can hear me and perhaps make a decision whether or not they need to get their heart right with God before all the trouble starts happening. In John, it states, "They shall put you out of the synagogues," or you could say churches, "for the time cometh that whosoever killeth will think he doeth God a service." And I mentioned Jezebel last week. And the Jezebel of Revelation, as God has revealed it to me in chapter 2, starting at verse 18, Church of Thyatira is Freemasonry. And the churches are about to be punished for tolerating Freemasonry within the churches. What you are seeing that is happening around you right now is going to come to a head, and it's going to move on. Just last night, I had another dream. In one dream in the past, you can see it on my Facebook page. You can probably see something I did on YouTube. Barack Obama, who I've identified as the Antichrist, we fist pumped in a dream because I know there are things about this nation that has to go down. There's things that have to be stopped, and he is going to be used to do so. Last night, a person here today fist bumped me too. I understand. I realize that the police department has difficulty. I realize difficulties here, this or there. I'm just making sure that regardless of what is being put out, to the contrary, people fully understand this is extremely serious, and lives will begin to be lost very soon. Thank you.
He didn't say he was guilty.
It doesn't matter.
Thank you, Mr.
Speaking in codes.
I'll be back. Sarah, guys, Sarah Grant is now.
And the revolution will be televised.
Guys.
Okay, once again, I find myself seeing another mother, and I can't imagine being in her shoes. The mother of LJ literally stood there after dealing with police all day long, trying to get him help. She stood there and watched them beat him to a point where he still hasn't woke up 6 days later. That is inhumane. Honestly, no matter if he had done something or not, I don't see the reason to beat someone so badly. It doesn't take that, and it's not their job. This goes to show that officers here in Decatur are trying to escalate and attack people rather than de-escalate and be the neutral party. They were called for help, and now that probably cost him his life. Alabama's mental health is the worst ever, and I've been saying that for years, but that doesn't change what happened last Tuesday night. LJ came in contact on 3 separate occasions that day with officers who stated he was having a mental breakdown. One mental health worker we have on payroll, where was she that day? And if she's unavailable, then there should be a backup for her. There should be a mental health worker 24/7 in the city that can be reached and answers the phone. And when she needs to take off, someone else should answer that phone and needs to be on call to answer any of these mental health situations. At the very least, we could have gotten a plainclothes officer there to try and talk to him, because it's obvious in every video that he was scared to death, that he might that the police might do something to him, even stating the fact, in case I die, I just want to make sure your body cam is on. To me, that breaks me all the way down to where I was the day after the same department murdered Steve Perkins. And all I know is since we lost Steve, we have been in here week after week pleading for changes because we saw it with our own eyes. Not all officers, but certain officers, we saw it in their eyes that they would love to do anything to get their hands on us. And some of them have. And we have warned that something horrific like this would happen again. Many times since Steve was murdered, really bad things have happened from officers to the citizens. Those should have been huge red flags that something needed to immediately be done. But instead, the city waited and waited. We've let the mayor stay in his position. We let Todd stay in his position rather than firing him when the other officers were fired. If they would have gotten Todd out of here after the Perkins incident, or at least after the Third Friday incident, then we would have already had the new chief in position, at least trying to implement new ways to train these officers. Because again, their job is to protect and serve, not kill the black men of this city. And to our citizens of Decatur, if your loved one is having a mental health crisis, please call a local pastor or Morgan County Sheriff Department. Please do not call Decatur Police. Justice for Steve Perkins and L.J. Strong.
Can you move me down?
How's it going? It's kind of sad, man, that we got to stand up here every week and talk about, what's going on within our police force and how our citizens are being treated. For about 20 months now, we have cried out for public safety. We have told you guys that we have to do something about what's going on. I had the privilege to talk to John Scott's mother, along with the chief. The chief said that John was like this. He was clutched, just like this. This is how he was. He wasn't combative. He wasn't fighting them. He's a big guy. He wasn't fighting them, but he was going through a mental break. And the chief, this is from our chief, quote unquote, when he began to convulse and seize, he said he was going through a medical delirium. A medical delirium do not have you to convulse or seize. A medical delirium is what he was going through, meaning he was going through a mental break, right? All right, it was an officer there, by 5. One hit him 12 times to the point that he sprung his wrist, right? When they had him on the ground, he was laying on the ground like this, arms clutched, laying on the ground with 5 police officers with their knees on his back for 45 minutes, right? All right, they said he had a warrant. Thursday night when we saw the video, Thursday night, 9:30, that's when I saw the video, Thursday night. We had 3 bail bondsmen to look up if he had a warrant. He did not. They could not find one, right? He only got a warrant. It showed up Saturday from 2021 that he had a speeding ticket for a failure to appear. Watch this right here. He supposedly got arrested Tuesday, correct? On the warrant, but he never got booked. He never got booked in Morgan County Jail. Ask your police chief who took him to the hospital. Absolutely. Ask him that, first of all. Who took him to the hospital, and if he was in custody, why he's not in custody now. Because he never got booked. We need more transparency from our police department, because they're doing things to the citizens of Decatur that's unjust and not right. And I'll close with this. He was not the only one. Wednesday afternoon, another guy, Naradius Brinkley, was beat the same way. Both of them Naradius is in Decatur Morgan Hospital, and John is in Huntsville Hospital fighting for his life. Totally, his kidneys are totally shut down, both of them. Kidneys are totally shut down. They're fighting for their life, 24 hours dialysis. John is that way because he had a failure to appear on a speeding ticket. He called for help. Naradius was having a mental break. His kidneys are totally shut down because somebody called for help. If we call for help, if someone calls for help, you got to help, not hurt. That's all I got to say.
All right, so now, are you all familiar with the incident on Tuesday that we're speaking about with the video that has gone around?
Yeah.
Everyone, you've watched it? Okay, so do you all realize that for them to say, well, for them to tase him and beat him, that the physical contact was initiated by Decatur Police?
Mr. Ladner, they can share whatever their observations are, but y'all just need to listen.
I'm not.
I'm asking if their eyes saw that.
I don't know personally, but.
We're looking into it, and so.
Okay, so is it in fact only one mental health liaison?
Yes.
How does that make sense?
We hired her early. It was Chief Allen's idea in selection, and been back in 2020. I don't know. We had never had one prior to that.
So do you feel that having one is sufficient?
Probably not.
Probably not. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because from what I understand, so is there a plan in order to, because it's comical that Decatur Police Department on Monday posted a Facebook post in regards to mental health matters, and then less than 24 hours later, they ran into 2 incidents where mental health did not matter. And so go ahead.
Yeah, I would just say Chief Allen is what he recommended was we hire one, and that's what we did. And so if the chief or someone else thought it was a good idea to hire more, we would certainly do it.
Because what is the workaround if she's contacted 3 times and does not respond? So is that not something that you all can push to change, or?
Potentially, we rely on those subject matter experts to let us know when they.
I'm asking you, as council president, what steps can you take based off of what's happened this past week?
But as of now, they have not requested any other positions.
There's not a chief. There's currently an interim who doesn't need to make decisions.
We had an extreme situation this past week.
Yes, sir.
But I think that we have to, and should be an awareness call for us, that we have to treat everything as if in the most extreme way.
Mm-hmm.
So we did select this person, and we, again, at that particular time, it was brought to us, and we thought it was a good idea. The situation last week absolutely shows us that there have to be backup steps. If this person doesn't respond, then we go to the next page.
Because where's that salary paid from?
We just have to make sure, Sharonda, that we are covered, because again, we don't know when an extreme situation is going to happen, like happened last week. So we have to be prepared for that. And sometimes until something happens, unfortunately, you don't think about it in that sense. And now it's our responsibility to at least explore and look at the need for moving in that direction.
Yes, sir. I mean, because we can't afford for this to continue to happen. Help me to understand the last thing that I heard in regards to the police chief. You said that you made a motion to move.
To move forward with Captain Tory Mack.
Okay.
In the HR process, yes.
Okay. So does that mean that at this time, no additional interviews will be done, that he is the person that is looking to be hired as long as everything?
Until, from what I understand, due diligence after that process, like I don't think we've done official background checks and things like that on all 18 of the applicants, but I think we that's what happens next. Moving forward is what we've done with every director we've hired. Just moving forward in the process.
Okay, so what kind of timeline should we be looking at?
I should get an update on Monday of where we are in that process.
Okay, terrific, thank you.
Rodney Gordon.
Good morning. I noticed that after hearing all this stuff that they said about the mayor, he still left. A real man, he would have stood up and fought. You understand me? A real man would have stood up and fought. So if you plan on running for mayor, put your big boy pants on. Stand up and fight like a man. Don't get up and run, because that's ridiculous. And as far as the John Scott, I told you that this was going to happen again. It was going to happen again. It may not have been just, it's third shift, in the dark, the same thing. You understand? Training. Y'all, we need to get these people trained. If you're going to be a police officer, you need to be trained. You need to be able to deal with mental health people. Yeah, I mean, they need to be trained in aggressive behavior. But not only trained, they need to know how to implement it. You know, you got a person that's a mental health officer. You say you got a mental health officer, right? Mental health officer, you can't even find. You need one on every shift. And they need to be physically able to be a part of it. You understand what I'm saying? If we don't, y'all, it's mental. We got a problem with mental health. This not in the indicator. This in the world. So we got to get prepared. Y'all, we're not prepared. We're not prepared. Listen to me. You're running for mayor, you better get these people prepared. Get these people prepared. And see, that's another thing. Don't nobody want to talk. Everybody want to just act like it's don't happen. It's happening, y'all. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. And see, look how defensive y'all is when somebody says something y'all don't like. Y'all jump straight to it. Well, why y'all don't do this with the circumstances? Why y'all don't come in then? Then when you need to jump, you don't jump. You just sit there and watch it. And I'm going to tell you something. If it come to your house, see, that's the problem. It ain't made it to your door yet. It ain't made it to your child or your uncle, your mama, your daddy. It ain't made it to somebody that you really love yet. You understand what I'm saying? See, I'm not here, man, to fight against you. I live here. I ain't going nowhere, baby. You understand me? I'm part of the solution. And you don't got all the answers. Huh? You got to inquire. You got to deal with some more people. You got to bring some people in that had a part of this thing. You don't call the electrician to fix the sink. You got to call the plumber. So you got to call some people into this stuff that's been around this type of stuff so they can deal with it. Because especially when you don't know nothing about it. Mental health. 20 years, bro. I had to deal with it. I know what's happening with that. You got to have a meeting, call some people that deal with mental health, because it's an issue. It is not going away. All right?
Thank you, sir.
I have a few questions. I'm going to go over a little bit of 4 minutes. I'm just going to give you a heads up, so please don't interrupt me because we're in a crisis and we tired of playing with y'all. So my first question is, what did Todd and Natus implement as chief? Because it seems like everything implemented to help this police department came from Chief Nate Allen. Chief Nate Allen was very proactive, and ever since he's left, I see a police department that is reactive. For example, Chief Nate Allen implemented the IA Pro system, mental health liaison, national accreditation through CALEA, police development and review, and emphasis on community policing. What did Todd and Natus do? What have they implemented and changed? Have you all watched the video released to the public?
Yes.
Okay. Do you all trust this police department?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I want you all to make notes as I speak. The first note is I need you all to write down responsibility policy of the Decatur Police Department written directives, page 158 to 161. Focus on E, as in egg, E. Second, I want to highlight inconsistencies regarding the police response in handling the body cam footage related to the incident involving John L.J. Scott, who was experiencing a mental health crisis at the time of his arrest. First, according to Natus, he told Ms. Paulette, because we were at her home the first time he arrived. First, according to Natus, he told Ms. Paulette LJ was not combative during the initial interaction. In fact, Natus stated that LJ was nice to the officers and he was shaking their hands. This seems to contradict what Natus later said in reports, which he states that the officers were struggling to handcuff LJ, claiming LJ was fighting back and grabbing them even after he had handcuffs on. Let me state that LJ was not resisting arrest. He was having a mental health crisis and was scared. Make note, these are two very different accounts of LJ's behavior. On one hand, Natus says he was cooperative to us at LJ's mom's house. On the other hand, in the public, he said that he was combative and resisting arrest. The officers beat him in his head repeatedly, tased him repeatedly, cussed at him, and was calling him out of his name. They escalated every bit of the interaction with LJ. Then you had Lieutenant Burleson, their supervisor, encouraging officers to verbally and physically harm LJ. Now that's in the footage. Make note again. You have night shift officers, which we got confirmed in the front Friday, so this is a fact. They're night shift officers. Some of them just came out of training. Of officers being trained to escalate with civilians instead of de-escalating, which is resulting in black men specifically being killed and assaulted. Second, there are serious concerns about transparency in how the body cam footage was handled. Natus told LJ's mother, Ms. Paulette, that he would let her view the footage Friday morning when he visited her home. Make note that this was the first time Natus had spoken to her since LJ had been in the hospital Tuesday. Now he told her he couldn't let her see it Friday because he had a funeral to attend. However, later that day, he texted her asking her for permission to release the footage to the public. She responded yes, but she said she wanted to see it first. Instead, Natus released the footage to the public before Ms. Paulette had a chance to view it. After releasing it, he told her the video he planned to show her was the same one already released to the public. When she requested to see the other video footage, not included in the public release, Natus told her she couldn't because they were a part of internal affairs investigation. Here's the inconsistency. If the unreleased videos are protected due to an ongoing investigation, then why did Natus decide to let one video be cleared for public release? They should all be under investigation. I'm almost done. Wouldn't that video be part of the investigation? Why was that footage treated differently? This raises troubling questions about selective transparency and whether the full story is being withheld from LJ's family and the community. This department loves to tell the story from the middle, but not the beginning and not the end. Let's talk about how LJ left handcuffed in police custody and in a police vehicle, taken to Morgan County Jailhouse to end up at the ER unresponsive. His breathing was super shallow. He lost his pulse, but CPR was started on him to keep him alive. He was put into a medically induced coma, which he is out of now. 3 crash carts were used on him. Both of his kidneys have failed, and he needs 24-hour dialysis, and he hasn't woken up yet. The doctor also advised his mom that LJ's heart has stopped for 45 minutes. He has been showing minimum improvements, which is better than no improvement. Everyone in this room needs to pray for LJ to pull through. Prayers for LJ, prayers for Kevin Jackson, justice for Steve Perkins, and justice for Jaden.
I think I heard in response to Mr. Jackson's question on personnel issues from the HR director that it's, quote, normally what we do. Now, normally what we do has gotten us into a lot of trouble. Now, normally what we do has gotten citizens to misunderstand what is in the documentation on the agenda. Specifically, I want to cite, and we had some consternation earlier this morning, the ad valorem tax. If you read that, this is under the section of Ordinance First Reading. Now, does anybody here think I'm an idiot? I'll even let you answer that question, Mr. McMasters. Okay. If I'm not an idiot, when it says ordinance's first reading, that should mean this is the first time it's coming before you all.
Not what it means.
Oh, okay.
Well,
It's normally what we do.
it's the first time this specific ordinance is coming before us.
Okay, and when I read that ordinance, as the title says, it's a tax levy for FY26. When I read Section 3 of that ordinance, again, first reading, beginning 1 October 2025, this will take effect and states in Section 3 that an additional tax was involved. Additional.
In addition to the first two that it talks about.
Okay, so again, that's my point. Lack of clarity. There is no or very limited clarity when it comes to these type of resolutions being put forward so that the citizens of this city can understand what is actually being done.
It will be talked about 4 times in a public meeting and clarified before we vote on that.
Okay, so for someone who's sitting out of country, who reads the agenda, taps on the agenda, and reads this document, is it potential that I would get a misunderstanding? This is not necessarily the first reading of it.
Potentially anybody could get one on any.
Okay, so I'm an idiot. Is that what you're saying, Jacob?
No, anybody could misread something.
Okay, how did I misread that then?
You just read it wrong.
How did I misread it wrong if that's what it says?
Because you read it as there's an additional new tax, and it's saying there's an additional tax in addition to the first 2 that are mentioned.
And I also read that it's a first reading of this.
Clarified it.
I also read it was the first reading.
Time next week and the time the following.
Okay, so if I am unable for whatever reason to attend the meeting, which I was, and the work session made that as clear as mud, why do we not ask?
Very clear. It's been 50 plus years since it's been changed, maybe longer, maybe 70 years, and there are no new taxes.
Okay, I just want to thank you all for that clarity. And I'm being facetious in case you didn't catch that. Thank you for your Christian love, Jacob Ladner. Your decision to, if you go forward with the SROs, why would you handcuff your police chief with this decision?
I will ask him if he supports SROs in our schools.
Everyone's going to say, of course, it's the politically correct thing to say. But in an era where the force...
It has nothing to do with politically correct. It's the right thing to do.
Okay, is it the right thing to have 6 officers, actually 7 because the MOU would be 7, but a lieutenant showed up on whatever night that was this week. Is it okay for that to happen? Because those officers who were fairly newly trained, and that's a good question, when were they trained? Because those officers may have been recruited under Chief Pinion. Okay, so if we're going to have Pinion be the trainer for these officers, maybe we have a huge disconnect in terms of where we need to go. Now, the last question is, when is the advisory council going to be established?
I think we need to wait till we get a new chief in place for that, but it's being worked on.
Why?
Why what?
Why would you have to wait?
Well, because the likelihood, most of the structures I've looked at and will have one appointment from the chief as part of that.
So the only thing that's keeping us from having this advisory council is we don't have a police chief in...
Probably, yes.
Who's working on it? Good question.
There are members of the current board. I've had other folks that come to our meetings and speak, working on it. I've gotten feedback from some of you, so.
Now, the last I heard
We will vote on it.
the last I heard in council was that you would have something by the 1st of April. That's what you stated.
Yeah, since we had candidates for chief, I think we need to get a chief in place.
I agree. But can you not now start taking a look at, because I'll tell you, Mr. McMasters, I will volunteer to be the 3rd district's rep to that body in a heartbeat. Because I want to know what's going on, and you're not giving that, you're not delivering anything to us.
Lisa Kurt.
I done gave y'all a break for some time now. We've been in here fighting for the last 19 months for justice for Steve Perkins, showing you all continuously over and over again, over and over and over and over again, how rogue Decatur Police Department is. With Steve, it was close to home for me, so it got personal for me, and I came out here, and I've been here, and I'm not going to stop until we get the justice. But to think that here we are 19 I'm gonna try my best not to cuss. Freaking months later, and we have gotten absolutely nowhere. And now my friend lays in the bed, fighting for his life, and his family has to endure this because of negligent rogue police. And you guys, first thing y'all want to do is get on the internet and get on the news and lie. The first thing to do is to tell a lie. Don't tell the full truth. Carlisle, I had a little bit of respect for you, and I see today you're not here, but I know you hear me. I tried to give you faith, Carlisle. I believed in you when nobody else did. But you came in Paulette House and told her a bold-faced lie, a couple of them. Then you got on the internet and made a Facebook post, and you didn't tell the full truth. You told that the second his mother called the first time. You didn't say he made the second call, but you forgot the body cam footage from the doorbell cam. The officer told his mama that he called. So you trying to paint a picture like somebody called and LJ was out here irate. None of that was going on. Everybody saw the video. LJ was never one time irate. He was never combative. Maybe his behavior escalated. You know what I saw? I'm not even a medical professional, but you know what I saw? I saw medical distress at that very moment. I saw it before that. I don't know if y'all looked at it well. He took 2-3 deep breaths. His anxiety came in. When I walked into this building today, my anxiety came in. I know exactly how he felt. I'm numb. I'm shaking. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm all the above. Because why are we here still today? We're not supposed to be here. And then y'all still get on the Facebook and tell a lie. Then, like they said, Monday you make the awareness. Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 people suffer from mental health. Thursday, Carlisle, you got the audacity to get on the Facebook and praise this woman that failed my friend. That's the most disrespectful, disgusting thing I've ever seen from anything called a freaking government. He has no concern. Listen, don't come back over to Paulette House, Carlisle, if you ain't genuine. You ain't moving with integrity. You lied. You lied, and I'm finna bust you out today, Carlisle. While you said Mr. Burgess lied on the stage, and he apologized to you, and that was a lie. Something's got to be done with this department. It makes absolutely no sense. LJ is fighting. LJ was a good person. LJ called out for Hightower, as much as I don't like it, but you know why he called out for Hightower? Because Hightower knew that LJ was a good dude. LJ seen those officers, them little intimidated officers, 30 minutes we saw video. Never once did they get a vital the first. He didn't have to get in the ambulance to get a vital. When he sat down and offered to sit down, mental health, you would have worked with him. Okay, let's check your vitals and make sure you ain't got to get in the ambulance. I'm not a doctor, but I know that. Don't fight him. Why y'all backed him into the corner? And then you spun the narrative. He was never combative. He went into medical distress, and for at least 6 minutes, if not longer, y'all sat and tussled with him, beat on him, drug him, did everything you could, disrespected him. When y'all could have been saving his life. And y'all better hope and pray he wake up. But even if he don't wake up, guess what? 45 minutes, the nurse told me he went with no heartbeat. So when he wakes up, he ain't gonna be the same, regardless. This has got to stop. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. We shouldn't have to come in here week after week and beg y'all to do something, and y'all take forever to do it, and then we got another body on Decatur PD's hands. It ain't okay. No. This is what y'all do every week, but guess what? I'm coming back and I'm applying pressure until we get some doggone damn results around here.
John D. Scott Jr., LJ. I met LJ in the 10th grade when he moved here from New York. He's a man of exceptional character. In our adult years, he's been an advocate in the community. He created a program called See Y'all, which is Create Your Own Lane, directed at young athletic students. He's a young professional, like most of us here. Yes, he's a father. He has exceptional character, just like Steve. A great guy. And when I say that we come here every week, and I know I've been saying this since the beginning, is that because it could be any one of us, any day. Jacob, you and I have had the conversation. Kyle, I've had it with you. Mr. Jackson, I've had it with you also, Carlton. Same thing. It could be any one of us, any day. When we say mental break or mental distress, a lot of us are put under pressure every day, and that could be any one of us at any time. And to know that the police are supposed to serve and protect, not abuse and neglect, is frightening, especially when you look like me. And he's intimidating because his physique, he's a larger guy, but he's a soft teddy bear, you know? A man first. But for what to have happened to him to have happened makes no sense. And as we're sharing with John's mother on Friday, another friend from the community who we all know, brother comes in and tells us about what happened, that they had been looking for his brother for 48 hours, and they weren't getting any responses from DPD. And to find out that his brother's kidneys were also failing. And then they find out later that day that he's in Decatur General Hospital, or Huntsville Hospital, but Decatur campus. It's also scary, as he also fights for his life. Todd is no longer here, and Natus is the interim chief. But somewhere along those lines, this command staff is still in place. The things that happened on Tuesday and Wednesday can happen again today, Monday, tomorrow, Tuesday, this Friday, this Saturday. Like something has to change. And we're 18 months later, the same thing that we had been screaming from Steve's death is the same thing that we're still here screaming, and it's still happening. But then it makes you wonder, what else wasn't caught on camera that we've missed? Or who made it out of those situations just by hair? And we call these people criminals because they went to jail. I know LJ wasn't a criminal. I know Steve wasn't a criminal. I know Mr. Brinkley wasn't a criminal. These people just had moments in which the police were supposed to serve them. Because again, it could be you. It could be you, it could be you, it could be you, it could be her, it could be him. What do we do? How do we handle that? That's it.
Shirley's family.
Good morning, Council. I have a question. I would like an answer from everybody except for Billy. Which one of you all would trade places with any of us of color? Would you? Would you like to be a black man in America? Seriously, would you?
I wouldn't be afraid of it.
Okay. What about you?
That's a very hard question to answer. I'm who I am. So.
What about you?
I think a similar conversation like that's happened before in here, and I think some have said we don't know. It is different.
Well, I stand before you as a black mother, a sister, an aunt, a friend, and a cousin. This past week, I was in Kentucky to try to help console a very good friend of mine who's like a sister in the sudden loss of her husband, who passed away from natural causes. And while I was there, before this story about John ever broke to the public, I got a phone call that Wednesday night from John's brother. Well, it was from John's brother's stepmom. She said, we need your help. And I was like, well, what's going on? She said, Kenneth's brother, his mom can't find him. Something happened at the house, and they don't know where he is. And I said, well, in the morning, I'll try to see what I can do. And I tried to ask her what was going on. And then she didn't have all the details. Well, I got a call Wednesday with her telling me, no, Thursday, with her telling me that the police had beat him up and that everything was caught on Ring video. So I contacted Anicia and Mike to try, because I was in Kentucky, to try to see if they could get a hold on it. Well, while we were in the process of trying to figure out what was going on, she called me and said there's video all over Facebook. And when I looked at the video, I was very alarmed. I could not believe that once again here in Decatur, Alabama, where there has been so much unrest, that this was happening again. Coming from a background of medical profession and law, when I watched that video, there was a lot that stood out. But to see the way John was acting, it told me that he needed help. He called for help. He was the one who made the 911 call. He called for help. And all I could hear the officer saying was, we don't have time. We don't have time. Either you get in there or you go with us. When people are experiencing mental breakdowns, they have anxiety where they're claustrophobic, and putting them in a box like a ambulance or in a police car, that raises their anxiety. It tells me that the police officers here in Decatur, Alabama, they are rogue, they are untrained, and they are racist. And I say that because it's happening to us, people of color. And I have to say, who's next? Am I next? Because I bet when y'all go to bed at night, and I don't mean to say that in a racist way, y'all don't have the worry that we have. If we're gonna get that phone call in the daytime, in the middle of the night, that our sons, our nephews, our nieces have been beat, unmerciful, it is 100% chance that John, if he makes it, will be no good for himself or anybody else. To be without oxygen for 45 minutes to the brain. They tased him over and over and over and over. To hit somebody to the point that you break your wrist or fracture a bone in your hand, can you imagine that? It's sad. It is sad. This police department needs to be dismantled. And this drunk pickleball player, mayor that y'all have, he's pathetic. And that's saying the least.
I get up here because I want to know, like Ms. Shirley said, am I next? Being Steve's wife, the threats and everything that I have received for no reason, but go back to John Scott. I just would like to say to the Scott family, I'm sorry. You know, me standing here as Steve's wife, when I saw those videos, I couldn't watch them because it triggered me. But Jacob, you said you're not afraid of the police, and because you don't have anything to worry about. You're not a black man. The same thing, John Scott, he was a great guy. I went to school with him. So my heart goes out to his mom and his children. Like I said, just to hear these people get up and speak of how great of a man he was, that does something to my heart, because I know the same thing happened to my husband. He didn't deserve any of it. John didn't deserve any of it. And we've been up here 20 months telling you guys that, hey, this may happen again. And then you got an idiot like Byron comes up here making threats and saying all these crazy things like he's scaring somebody. I've lost my husband. I have to sit and watch my 9-year-old daughter cry all the time. I don't fear nobody, nothing but God. So no threat, no nothing will stop me until justice is fully served for Steve. So you can get up here and say any and everything you want. That's not putting fear in my heart ever. But I just, what happened to John was totally wrong. And it makes me angry because they disrespected his mom the same way they disrespected my family when this happened to Steve. The lies that they put out in the very beginning, the narrative they try to spin, that's what they try to do. This happened to John on Tuesday. They didn't go see about his family until Friday, but at least they went, because when it happened to Steve, nobody came. Tab came because Rodney and whoever told him to come, but when he came to my house, he didn't even have a seat in the living room. He stood there and said, he was told to come by. And I told him to get out, because somebody have to tell you to come by. I mean, that's not genuine, that's not real. But I just want to get up here and say that Decatur Police Department needs to get on hands full time and dismantle this whole police department, unless you guys want another black man, innocent black man or woman killed. Thank you.
Good morning. Mr. McMasters, do you still feel the only issue in the police department is communication?
That's a tough one to answer.
Why?
Because I have a feeling I know what you're alluding to, and it's under investigation at the moment.
What, your opinion about the police department?
Yeah, we've had a communication problem in the police department.
So do you feel it was appropriate to lie in a statement on what happened on Facebook? Is that good communication?
Justin, I don't know the facts, all the facts of that. I didn't release a statement, so I can't answer that.
But you're the liaison though, right? For the police department.
That doesn't mean I'm made abreast of every arrest that's made and the facts of it.
Do you feel you should be?
No.
Why not?
Well, Captain Mack kind of hit it in his interview the other day when asked specifically, and it was, don't tell me how to do my job or run my department from a police standpoint. You have your role, I have mine.
Do you think communication is part of de-escalation?
Absolutely.
So, do you feel it's appropriate for an officer to say, and I'm direct quote, "Get up, you son of a bitch"? Is that good communication?
Probably not.
Did you get a call that night?
No.
When did you become aware of this?
Rodney let me know about it.
So you had to find out through the NAACP and not. What's the appropriate use of force when someone is already in handcuffs?
No, he's not an expert, Justin, so he's not able to answer that question.
He certainly can answer it.
What's the appropriate use of force if somebody's in handcuffs? Is that something you're going to look into as a police liaison?
I mean, I think that's a post and all that stuff. That's not for me.
So the city doesn't have their own use of force policy, you're saying? So the part of the protect and serve, the serve part would have been giving John Scott a ride to the hospital and would have prevented his injuries. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, we are
day.